do that.
Don't do that. Wonderful. Is it afternoon? Good afternoon. Can you hear me? No.
No, you're not on.
I did before.
Hello. I'm here.
There we go.
Help me. Wonderful. Now we're good. Oh, there it is. Is it afternoon? Good afternoon, everyone. We're officially, after 12. I wanted to welcome everyone here. Whoever's getting their lunch, feel free to come join us. If you can hear me back there. Oh, pink sweater could hear me. Hi. Okay. Welcome, welcome. We are so thrilled to be here. My name is Jamie Sztoser. I am one half of the Dreamcatchers. We are a full-service career and brand consultancy based in the New York metropolitan area. We work very closely with Bellworks and Homedale, and we are so happy to be here at Bellworks Chicagoland. Thanks to our friends at MPC. I'm so excited to be here, you guys. I can't even stand it. It's so gorgeous in here. But before I go on, I wanted to introduce my sister, who's the other side of the Dreamcatchers.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Oh, hi.
Thank you. They cheered for me, not
Where
for
was
her. I
mine?
like it.
Where's mine?
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
They noticed I was the elder. So my name's Marissa Klein. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, to be in Chicagoland with all of you, rubbing elbows with your new and exciting community, being part of this gorgeous building. Uh-oh, am I gone? Am I gone? Okay, I'm still here.
You're still there.
And to sit on the stage with these incredible, inspiring women in honor of dun-dun-dun,
International Women's Day. We're so happy to be here for this. Okay, so before we go on, anybody that's trickling in, please feel free to come in. The front
fill
row.
up the seats in the front.
Front
we
row
don't
is
bite.
open. I know it's so intimidating and off-putting to sit in the front, but please feel free to join us in the front. So welcome. We are here today to celebrate female empowerment, International Women's Day, talk about these amazing women to my right and what they do for a living, how they got to where they are. The Dreamcatchers is also a podcast, a career podcast about just what we want to be and how we get there. We interview all sorts of people. We've recorded almost 80 episodes in the last 4 years. And we're just thrilled to be here today doing an episode live with these women, thanks to Ming Chen over here from A Shared Universe. Thank you, Ming. So we're gonna get started and unpack everybody's story. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, ladies, we're gonna have everyone introduce yourself. Obviously, we got your bios and read them, but we would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the audience, tell us who you are, just a bit about your business, just a snippet. And because we're going to end up kind of going into it a little further, but we can start right here to my right. Tootsie, tell us who you are, Toots.
Great. Good morning or afternoon. My name is Tootsie Olan.
Hi, Tootsie.
I am actually coming with this gang from the New York City metro area rather than Chicago. I am a choreographer, a global fitness pioneer. I lead retreats around the world. I do corporate events, large events, small events. I've been a dancer, choreographer, and yogi for most of my life. And essentially, I tap into what people need to find in themselves to pretty much level up their lives. And it's an awesome honor. I've done this with these guys before, and it's an honor yet again to be here with the Chicago crew.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm Jenny. Thank you guys for coming out today. So I'm 22 years old and I started a video production company to work with professional speakers and small business owners. I do video editing and content creation. So I'm super happy to be here today. Thank you guys.
Thanks for being here. I love that. I love that you added your age. Not that it matters.
I think I added it because I want the younger generation to also be able to connect with us up here, and I think that's important.
I agree. Thank you for being here for that.
And the middle-aged generation to, I was just speaking for myself, not for anyone else, to be inspired by your empowerment and dream big mentality.
I agree.
Good afternoon. I'm Nicole Woodcox Bolden. I'm a chaos tamer. And I say that because I wear a lot of different hats to support families and women. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a doula, childbirth educator, author, speaker. Even though it seems like my life is chaotic, it's not. But I do all things to try to help people reconnect with themselves and know that they can get out of fight or flight. That's the sweet and short about me.
I like it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to International Women's Day at Bellworth Chicagoland. This is a great moment for all of us. I'm very proud. First of all, my name is Paola Zamudio. I'm the founder and CEO of NPZ Studio Plus. We are the creative firm behind Bellworks, the Bellworks brand. So everything that is visual, from the space to the brand to the social media, graphics, it's all crafted through my company. And we started working on the project 8 years ago in Homedale, New Jersey. And we grew into this whole creative firm, and it's very exciting to be working now in the Bellworth Chicagoland project since the beginning too, 4 years ago, when, I don't know if you guys have a chance to walk into the older version, but that's how it used to look.
You should see the before and after.
Behind that, silver door there is the old version, and to bring it now to this moment and to the future is a great moment for all of us. And now seeing community and people, and now these events, it's great. So that's what I do, and I have a great team that we all work together. We are here twice a month, and yeah, that's what I do.
I love it.
Welcome. My name is Amy Wilhelmi. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm the founder of a large mental health practice called Balance Wellness Collective. I'm also a speaker, an author, a bodybuilder. I have a podcast called Ascension Mentality, and I'm a mentality and mindset coach. So I work with people internationally on mentality and mindset, and then locally we take insurance for mental health. So thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pam Orr, and I have the privilege of working with a wonderful team at Fellowship Housing. We serve single moms. Our mission is to empower single moms to build a new legacy. So we create a space where single moms can take a breath, find some margin, and really make incredible changes in their lives. So that's why we're a local organization, and I'm really excited to be a part of this today.
Look at the people dreaming big and chasing their dreams in Bellworks, Chicagoland. It's awesome.
Really is awesome.
Thanks for your immediate share. I can't wait to hear the rest. I know I am privy to some of these stories, but wait till we unpack them. Your own neighbors doing incredible things. It's so, so special.
So we always start our conversations with the same question. So welcome to the Dreamcatchers, method, if you will. We find that this following question really helps to, for us at least, and also for our listeners and our audience to understand, you just heard where they came from, but I think what's really interesting, and we really, as Marissa says, geek out on what they used to want to do or what they remember wanting to be when they grew up and how they got to where they are now. So that's our first question. I think some of you, you've probably answered this question before that have been on a Dreamcatchers panel or episode, but what is your earliest memory of what you wanted to be when you grew up? Because I'm guessing a lot of your answers are not necessarily what you do now, but what Marissa likes to do specifically is correlate how that can potentially have maybe predicted just a little bit of what you do now. But and doesn't have to go in order. Does anybody want to start us off of what yours was most recent? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I could go first.
Jenny says
what do you want to
current.
be like 10 years? No, just kidding. For the rest of us, we're like, do you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Yeah, so growing up, I was always a super athletic child, so I knew that I wanted to compete at a high level and be a professional athlete of some sort or help professional athletes either in physical therapy or coaching.
What sports did you play when you were a kid?
Everything? I did mixed martial arts for 8.5 years.
Ooh, unexpected.
I played football, I played ultimate frisbee, I played basketball, volleyball, I ran a little bit in there too.
Wait, Jenny, did anyone hear that she said mixed martial arts and then also football?
Yeah, she did.
Cheers International Women's Day. Love
yes,
it.
Love that.
That's awesome.
Do you want to correlate that at all?
Well, I'm guessing along the way, so what I do now, shockingly, is I try to take the innate dream and tie it to what you're doing in this moment, which is what Jamie and I have webbed together in our professional careers of trying to find, if you don't set out or actually obtain, quote unquote, the dream job, like being a professional athlete, it's finding the dream within the job that you're in, which is also just as soul fulfilling, 99.9% of the time. So for Jenny, who's young and starting out, she channeled probably all of the moments that made her her and thought about how they were shared, created, and in turn inspired others to do the same. So somehow or another, your moment on the track field or your moment on the football field or your moment captured by your fan club, maybe mom, dad, etc., in mixed martial arts could then be something that you could offer visually to others that need to showcase themselves the same way. When I did the intake call about this meeting, I don't know, a month ago, I said, Jenny, we need you. Everyone needs a little bit of Jenny, especially our generation. And again, I'm talking about myself and not necessarily anybody else. We all need ways to communicate to all levels of people, no matter where they are. And a video content creator is the bridge or the gap that sometimes a lot of us are missing. So even though we have something great to say, we can't get it out to the right place. So I thank you. Tell me, oh, you know what? We're going to come back, but I can't wait to see where in the last, 2 weeks or so, you decided to not be a professional athlete and then channeled your inner art piece. We're going to come back to that. But I'm assuming the baby whisperer and the chaos tamer didn't start that way in kindergarten. Go ahead.
No, actually, I planned on being a lawyer and a computer engineer. Very logical. My family had a computer business, so I liked computer engineering, and I liked debating. So I actually had that dream all the way up into college. I was on the route for pre-law, and I fell in love with juvenile delinquency, and it made more sense to be a social worker than to do law. So.
Well, a baby that cries quite a bit could be considered a juvenile delinquent. I'm just saying from my own personal experience. Yes. Depends on where you're coming from, right? So I would think chaos taming, which was the best combination of words ever.
Chaos tamer, I love that.
Yes, taming chaos. I think with law, you tend to put things in black,
Order.
white, no gray. So you're putting things back where they belong, or what you deem or the client deems to be what they need to belong, right? Or feel safe. So you're creating structure for people.
You know what, also I think what's interesting about what you do, and to correlate that is, I'm guessing as a pre-law mind growing up, and a technical mind, like you said, you have to be very pragmatic, and you have to be kind of take the emotion out of it. And I think a lot of the work that you're doing, I'm guessing, for the client is very emotional. As a mom myself, I need someone to help me put my life back in order that way. When you think about those early years when the postpartum for me was, thankfully I was, I didn't have postpartum depression, but it's really hard. And so to have
even
somebody,
without the depression.
Correct. So if I had somebody pragmatic and, mindful guiding me back into where I needed to be, I think that's probably a nice correlation to your studies and your upbringing. So you're welcome for that. I'm just kidding. So we're unpacking and then repacking all these stories. I love that. Anybody else remember what they wanted to be? Want to share? Yeah.
Yeah, I, from a very early age, wanted to be a reporter. Got to college and realized I hated putting a microphone in people's face and
So
begging them to talk
yeah.
to me. But if I'm going to correlate for you, which maybe
I
that's
think
not
we're live
allowed.
action doing it.
You
You can
We are.
step in, Pam.
Correlating.
Take my job. Go ahead.
There's a piece of storytelling that has
Yes.
really carried through with the incredible single moms that we serve.
I bet.
Giving them a space to tell their story has really been a theme that's carried through. The other theme, I will just say, is I wanted to be a reporter, but I also never wanted to do something that was traditionally a woman's job. I remember that from early on.
Yep.
I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't want to be a teacher. Two incredible careers, very honorable. But I can remember from an early age hearing from the men in my life, my dad, my grandpa, you run like a girl, You do this like a girl. And I thought, okay, then I'm going to go the totally opposite direction.
And do something that is not traditionally
exactly.
girls.
And ironically, now I work with all women. I serve all women, and it's come full circle.
Oh, it's
Not
I
ironic.
mean, we might be biased,
Yeah.
but girls are pretty great.
Pretty
They
great.
are pretty great.
Pretty great.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Amy, do you remember what you wanted to be?
Yeah, I wanted to be a NICU doctor. I wanted to, work with babies in the NICU. And then I wanted to be an artist. So I kind of blended the two. My undergraduate degree is in art therapy. So it was a helping profession and art combined. And then my graduate degree is actually a combination of art therapy and marriage and family therapy, because I knew that I didn't want to work in nonprofit forever, so I needed to get like a clinical license. But I do think it's related to that innate, I want to help, I want to do something nurturing, and that's what I do. I really do nurture my clients.
I love that.
I love art therapy. In fact, if you'd like to go on the DeLorean ride through those doors, you could see the art therapy that comes from walking from one room to the other, that you would, if you haven't been behind there, you would very much appreciate.
Oh, I've
it.
seen what's behind the curtain. It's
Yes,
very
it's really
different than
incredible.
here. Yeah.
So it is no accident that this feels as beautiful as it does.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I always loved design since the moment that, as long as I remember, but at some point I wanted to be an FBI agent.
Yes. It's funny. We know this. So
It's
we
funny,
just
Marissa and I
talked
were
about
like,
this.
we've interviewed Paola a lot. What did she want to be when she grew up? And I forgot.
And then as soon as
now
you said it,
I'm
I
like,
remember.
there it is.
But
There
the
it is.
truth is, are you an FBI agent? And we don't know.
Maybe.
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 I'm just saying.
I mean, I come from Colombia. I have this story. You never
Going
know.
on.
It could be, but I feel like I always love art, design, researching. It's really a big part of my design perspective. So it's kind of like a FBI
You're like a
agent for
real
design.
sleuth.
Yeah.
Where to find the most beautiful fig trees for the atrium, for the square, for the piazza.
Where what?
The fig trees.
Yeah.
Oh, in
Exactly.
Florida. Yeah.
So
I
she
can
knows.
sleuth.
She knows all the places and all the things, and it's a good cover for you.
Yeah, it
This
is.
is a great cover for you. Whatever happens underneath these floors. What happens
did
in
you wanna be a
Chicagoland
dancer when you
stays in
grew up?
Chicagoland.
I have like this I think an inverse. I always I've been a dancer and moving my entire life, but I come from a very traditional academic upbringing, and so I always felt that even though I was given this natural talent and I loved it so much, that there's going to have to be an expiration date, that I would have to have a more serious, more, I should become the lawyer or go into finance or a physician like everybody else in my family and my community. And so frankly, I think that my discipline came from steering myself back into, I could have this really robust career in what I love to do, and it could pull together all of, whether the finance or my psychology background, and in fact it does. So I've always loved it, and I always loved doing this, but I had to have reconcile the, the kind of business, entrepreneurial aspects of it to pull it all together.
Yeah. While you're talking, it's, I know Tootsie for years, and it's rare that I even get to ask these questions directly to her face, so it's fun to do that. What I wanted to say about these women is, we've now talked about what you're doing now and what you wanted to be. And what I'd love to ask next is, when did you have your aha moment, and how did that happen? I think it might be a longer answer, but if you could, just for the sake of this conversation, encapsulate that for us, to be like, you know what, I did this, and this. Typically, if you were on our podcast individually, we would talk about, did you have internships? What were your first jobs like? Because we find that our listeners, it's so inspirational to hear what you're doing now. And I think what gets lost a lot of the time during a lot of these conversations that I listen to is
The journey.
The journey. Because I think, sure, it's amazing to listen to these people and what they do now and how they've created this, but it's not often that you hear about the before and the struggle and being a woman in your space and and figuring it out and making what you've now created for yourself. So anybody want to take that first about your aha moment, kind of when you started, what you're doing now, and a little bit about how you got there? Anybody want to take that first? Paola, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think I have aha moments every day, to be honest.
I
And
agree.
to me was just exploring since the moment. I remember also that because I'm very curious and I always like to learn, and I'm always looking for the next inspiration, the next thing, the next travel, the next country, the next place. So I'm not a person who likes to be comfortable in a way, because I feel like comfort is boring. So I'm always like challenging myself, always. So high school, I graduated, then I went to college. I wanted to go to Thailand. I went to Italy. I was always searching for the next thing, and that to me is what my aha moments. Seeing the world from different perspectives, because that's what I bring into my design, into my eye. That's how I see things, and those are my aha moments. Meeting people from other places, understanding how they live, how different we are, but then we are the same in some other way. So to me, those are my aha moments.
Yeah, I think, how long ago did you start your firm?
I started my firm 8 years and a half ago.
Yeah. And I think you're onto something there. Marissa and I, the Dreamcatchers started as a podcast, as an extension of our day jobs as recruiters. And like you, Paola, I would probably agree. It's like everything we've built and created since then has been new aha moments of meeting people that need us for different things. You know, especially with COVID. I mean, we all can relate. I think we talk about this all the time. So much beauty came from COVID and the time that we had to be home and revisiting and thinking about what was next for us. And it's like, sure, we're a career podcast. We can talk to you about your career journey. But people would come to us like, can you do my resume? Like, can you do that? Can you help me with my LinkedIn strategy? Like, can you help me build my business? And all of a sudden, Marissa and I are having more and more aha moments every day. We're like, yeah, we could do that. We could do that. And so, you know, like you, I agree. I wouldn't say, I mean, we've had 50 aha moments in the last 4 years alone. So I think that's a really awesome answer to think about. Sure, like you had one, a light bulb went off of like, I'm going to start my business. And then from there, it's just grown, and you rebrand and shape and meet new people. Anybody have anything to add to that about your aha moments over the years, or what about you, Jenny?
What
made you start your own thing when you
Yeah.
graduated?
I've always kind of been doing my own thing.
Yeah.
I have hobbies. I see something that I want to do, and I just make it happen. So I tried the corporate world. I had an internship. I did manufacturing, engineering. I tried to go to college, but I am way more creative-brained than math-brained. So I kind of leaned into my editing skills and started working with inspiring professionals, just trying to help them share their message and inspire and educate their audiences. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Wait, Jenny, look how brave Jenny is.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what were you doing when you were 22, Jenny?
Not that. Sleeping on your couch, probably.
Yeah, actually.
No, like actually sleeping on your
actually
couch.
sleeping on my couch. But to have that innovation and confidence, right? Well, first of all, the confidence comes from being an athlete. Being an
For sure.
athlete or somebody that is able to show up for themselves or somebody else speaks volumes, no matter what. So, but what made you get into the creative piece? Where'd the video come from? Other than what I made up before?
Yeah, I've always been a creative. I did video editing as a hobby. Another one of my hobbies is motorcycle riding. My
Jenny
family-
has so many secrets.
Dear
I mean,
everyone, why are we not Jenny?
like, can I be Jenny when I grow up?
Yeah.
No, so my family is a big motorcycle family. I grew up around it. And so I started riding with my grandparents. And as my grandpa got older, we didn't ride as much. And so when I was old enough to get my own bike and go riding, I would take videos so that my grandpa could watch it back, and it would be kind of like he was with me, or he could see me riding. He still rides, but he's like in his late 80s now, so it's a little like But
Way to go, Grandpa. Also,
Yeah.
nothing's coincidence ever.
yeah.
I love
The
that.
stories we tell are always meant to be our stories, right?
Yeah.
It's whether we get to the chapter and read it out loud first. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We were just randomly, Where were we just randomly on
Oh
vacation?
my God, in Florida, we had a great conversation with motorcycle riders.
There's an entire group of individuals that are very, very big into motorcycles. Not
Yes.
just like the way we know them.
Fascinating.
There was some place in, where do they go in?
North
like,
Dakota or
do they go
somewhere.
in North Dakota or
Yes,
Wyoming?
everybody's nodding. This is a
Some-
thing. Okay.
Okay. It's probably more common out here than it is in New Jersey.
Yes, and I was like, wow, that was just, it was fascinating. Anyhow, and mixed martial artist who rides a motorcycle. Don't mess with Jenny.
Hashtag.
Hashtag, don't mess with Jenny. Anybody else want to talk about their aha moments at all, or?
Well,
Yeah.
kind of just piggybacking what
Yeah.
everyone already said, just the ability to lean into the transitions in life. I think that's what makes it an aha moment, because I know for me, I've had these various transition points in life where I could have ran away from it, but I decided to lean into it, and that's what created the urge to just jump. Just like I graduated with a degree in communication and sociology, full still pre-law mindset, but then someone was like, you're not gonna make any money doing juvenile delinquency law, it's a stepping stone to criminal law. And I was like, So I chewed on a little bit, and a Peace Corps representative came to our school, and I was just like, what's Peace Corps? And I leaned into it, and I just discovered, and I applied just on a whim, and I got accepted. And when I got accepted, they said I would be a children, youth, and family volunteer. And so I just
That's
really
not a
took
coincidence,
that.
yeah?
I
Where'd
leaned
you
into
go?
it.
Where'd you go?
I went to the Philippines.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And during that time, I was supposed to just go hang with the kids, teach them English. The social worker at the orphanage that I lived at quit not too long after I got there. And they're like, you work with kids, you understand paperwork. Okay, I'll help. And I fell in love with social work. And then I came back, and there's a lot in between, but I came back and I went to school to get my master's in social work. Okay with social work, working with kids, residential community stuff. Then I got married, had a kid, had horrible postpartum depression and anxiety, leaned into it. I could have been like, oh, this is horrible. But then when I started to seek help and saw there wasn't a lot of resources for families, why not? There's clearly a need here, and I feel equipped with the skills to fill it. Let's do it, let's jump.
Yeah. I love that. My dad always says, who was our boss for almost, well, not our boss for 50 years, but owned our staffing firm for close to 50 years, always says, see a need, feel a need. So good for you for seeing that and going after it, right? And that's what we're here to celebrate today.
Let's
it's like,
jump.
Just jump. Just give it a try. What's the worst that could happen, right? I love that. Anybody else want to share their aha moments? Pam, you have
Sure.
one? Oh, go ahead, Amy. Pam?
I just want to say that I think that's a theme among entrepreneurs is that we all have that yes thing, right? We're all like, okay, this is fun, but like what's next? And this is cool, but yeah, I'll try that too. And so, you know, when I say what I do a lot of things because I just keep saying yes. I just keep saying like, yeah, I'll try that. Yes, I'll, you know, now I'm doing healthcare consulting as well, and I also do divorce mediation, right? So I'm one of those people who, like you said, I don't like to be bored, and so I just keep saying yes. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am now, is that I was working in other people's private practices, and they were pulling me into their business meetings, and then at one point I went, why the heck am I building someone else's business? They're asking me for advice. Obviously, I know something about this. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pulling me into these lunch meetings or having me meet with their clients or whatever. So then eventually I had that was my aha moment. I was like, why am I building this business for someone else? I can do that. And I can do it better, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Yeah.
Marissa and I talk about this all the time. It's very challenging when you have that entrepreneurial drive and spirit to work for someone else.
I'm a terrible employee.
Very hard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Same.
I worked for Marissa for a while. I'm an okay employee.
She's a pretty good employee, actually.
She is my sister.
Yeah. I didn't have to boss her around all that much.
What about you,
Right.
Pam? Did you want to add to that at all? or-
I was just going to piggyback on what Nicole said and say, sometimes I think we do a disservice to those high school graduates that are going into college and have this, we put on them that they have to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. I never would have dreamed when I was in college that I'd be doing what I'm doing today, but all of the experiences that I leaned into or the doors that I walked through set me up in a way that none of that experience was wasted, and I'm in a place now where it's just a blast. So lean in, walk through the open door, whatever the right way is to say it, but that's what I always tell individuals, my own kids that are at that age right now, is don't put the pressure on yourself to feel like you have to have your ultimate job today. Lean in, find something you love, move on when it's time, and you will walk yourself into that dream job.
And I would say, forgive me for being bold here, but I would say it was women's work over the course of the last few decades that created the flexibility for that to be culturally okay, right? We no longer preach that you need to do X forever, right? So even, I mean, granted, there are some people that graduate or grow up with one true focus. For instance, if you are a young person and you want to work in medicine, you tend to always want to work in medicine, right? So if your brain is that way, that's okay. Go ahead on your 70-plus year journey in medicine. But and thankfully for them, right? For the rest of us, sometimes your life just leads you to a place that leads you to a place that leads you to a place that leads you to a place. And you actually don't notice it until you're looking back, right? But we now, as a culture, are allowing that flexibility for the people that are coming up, that Jenny feels completely safe diving in and saying, you know what, I'm going to do this. And if for whatever reason she decides in a few years that this is no longer fulfilling her, she'll switch it or edit it, see what I did there, to suit her needs at that time, the way we all have. And also, to be fair, just calling to you and to Tootsie, to think about fitness, wellness, mental health. Those are all things that were correlated in this generation, in our work, in our lifespan. Fitness and wellness and mental health were not associated together before all of your hard work. Now it's common knowledge, thanks to people like you, a pioneer who said, you know what, I'm gonna dance and teach, simply said. Or you took, what did you say? You said bodybuilding in there, I heard it. So, you know, you're doing that while mediating someone's divorce and then building the person back up, literally and figuratively.
Very inspired by that sum up.
Thank you. You were hanging on my
really
other word.
hanging on those words.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, and because we are what we consider resume experts, career experts, job search experts, this is our language, you know, and it's not everybody's language. And it's very challenging to be in these moments and then figure out how to reflect that on paper and say it in an interview and talk about it out loud and feel confident to say it. And if Jenny in a couple years decides, you know, I started my own thing and it didn't work out, I wasn't earning a living the way I wanted to, whatever the case may be.
Or it works out and we all work for Jenny.
Exactly. And then Jenny needs to make her first hire and she has absolutely no how to do that. There are resources out there. These women all provide a resource in some way, shape, or form to help. And I think that's another part of this conversation today. It's like, you don't have to do these things by yourself. There are people to lean on. You can lean up and over and down on people all throughout, you know, the Midwest and the country and the world. And there's, you know, I mean, forget it. I could go on a tangent about LinkedIn and ways to connect nowadays and social media. I mean, we grew up in a generation where if I wanted a job or to contact, you know, Paola, because I was inspired by her work, I would have to print my resume out and put it in a manila envelope and mail it to her.
Now I just get DMs.
And like hope to hear from her one day. And now I'm like DMing her.
The
and, like,
OG slipping into your DM with a manila envelope.
Yes. And it's just so incredible how tangible and how reachable your dream can be.
And how multi-generational.
Right, yeah.
Something that we've said throughout the years is COVID actually unified all of our different generations.
Agreed.
Because we all experienced
the same loss.
Experience.
Yeah.
So even if you're 22 or 45, or some of us on the panel will be 42 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Jamie.
Thanks.
But it didn't matter where you were. We all kind of experienced that chaos, that crisis together. So if we all didn't learn something as a society, like this zoom out, like this conversation, I think Tootsie said this to me yesterday while we were flying, that this is a zoom out moment, a zoom out on Paola breaking ground in this building with her team 4 years ago. Look where we are. But in the thick of it, it didn't look like this.
Nope.
And we all just came out of the thick of it, right?
It's so true. And, I think as we segue into this, latter half of our conversation, I wanted to, forgive me, I have to read it because I forget it, but.
We've only done it 76 times.
No, but I was about to
Plus.
say something different. So the International Women's Day, for those that don't know, is obviously an international movement, with their own marketing and tools and resources. And I checked that out before, I did my homework before our panel. And this year's theme is Embrace Equity, which I think is a really cool, I love alliteration, so that's one thing. So I wanted to just read their mission statement from this year's International Women's Day to all of you and just get your thoughts and what it means to you. So equity isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have. As a focus on gender equity needs to be part of every society's DNA. What does this mean to you, both personally and professionally? So wanted to talk about, what is the concept of equity? Gender equity, just in general, equal playing field for you. How has that, form shaped your business? A lot of us, not all of us, but most of us work in, I'd love to hear Paola's thoughts on this because, this space, can we just give a round of applause to Paola and her team for this space? It is, I literally walked through the door before. If you follow the Dreamcatchers on Instagram, shameless plug, I literally posted a before and after of this building this morning on my personal and professional feeds and sent to my husband because I was geeking out. Can you please look what this place looked like before and then what it looks like now? So actually I'm going to start with you if that's okay, to talk about what embracing equity has meant to you as you've forged this building and this vision forward, both in New Jersey, now here, hopefully elsewhere. What has that looked like?
Literally
for you?
broken glass
broken
ceilings,
glass
actually.
ceilings. And glass, whatever these are called. Glass everything. So tell us about how that's looked like for you, or what that's looked like.
So, embracing equity for me. I think I'm just gonna tell you, just simple. Just sitting on a table and being the only person that looks like me. That's what I felt, a responsibility to keep going, because hopefully I can make the table longer and bring more people and more diversity, more inclusivity. That's what's important. And those moments were aha moments too for me, because I was like, why am I the only one doing this? Why am I the only? So that's what embracing equity is, to be able to bring more people into the conversation, more women, diverse women, everybody, and that to me is very important because I grew up as an immigrant, and that puts you into a different mindset. I came to this country when I was 13, not speaking the language, having to put myself into situations that now I'm so thankful, because those were the blessings in disguise, because now that's why I don't like comfort, because I was uncomfortable, trying to learn, trying to express myself. Maybe that's why I'm also so visual, because I didn't talk the language, so I was always painting, showing things, and expressing myself through fashion, through color, because I see the world with color. That's how I connect with all different cultures. So then creating my company, because I'm never comfortable, and taking risk and seeing that I was the only Latina or the only woman in the room, that's when I said we need to bring more people into the table and make sure that we're engaging everybody.
I love that. Marissa, I think that's a good place for you to insert that awesome quote you had earlier about Paola.
I just was mesmerized, and I've known her a long time. Not a long time, but a long enough time. I think, simply said, being a woman, being an immigrant, speaking a different language first, I loved what you just said, using your art to communicate. We all have more than 5 senses. I know I do, right? Tapping into senses and utilizing ways to communicate is an incredible gift. And each of us, quoting one of my favorite teachers here, Wink, have a gift that we're supposed to spread our light and figuring out what that light is and then utilizing it. So when I walked in from the before and after building, I said something authentically, just before, off grid, not in front of all of you, not on cameras. I said, Paola was creating a language that no one knows how to speak. And that isn't unthinkable. In a world of no, she created yes, or we, or see, or whatever that yes is, and we are now sitting in it. It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
It is amazing. And to be able to take that visual yes, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go there. Just tell us quickly what this room has earned. This room. Didn't it earn you a prize, so to speak?
Yeah, it was selected as Best of Year Interior Design, which is a great feature. And yeah,
Across the world.
Across the world, yeah.
Across the world.
You're sitting in the number one, created by this woman. Right here in Hoffman Estates.
Hoffman Estates, Illinois, Paola. You're
Number
doing
one.
it. It really is incredible if you think about that. And like, you know, when we were standing up there before and we were looking down, like even the tiles here, the square that we're sitting on, there's thought behind that. There's art behind that. The trees that you see, there's art and thought. And this is all part of the grand plan of.
And she creates this beautiful space for us to work in, to raise our vibration, to do our jobs better, to bring our lights to other people. It's not an accident. It's intentional. And as we say in New Jersey, mazel tov.
Yes. Totally. So does anybody else want to speak to the embracing equity, how it's impacted you in your lives?
I'll take a little like sidebar to that. That I think would be a little combination of the aha moment and the equity. I agree entirely with. I didn't really have an aha moment, but the idea that there's this constant hunger for curiosity that feeds the aha moment. But there's this other part that the equity piece, yeah, like I'll applaud that all the time. But I will also say that that for women, I think there's this different kind of urgency. And in my situation, for sure, it's highlighted. You know, I have 3 children. I use my body for my work. Or for part of my work, it's the way that I communicate with people, even when I'm speaking in front of 1,000 people to make them feel better. I need my body to help me do that. And for women, I think, you know, I wanted to have my children so I could get my body back to moving they wanted to. I feel that there's this press against time where I have an incredibly supportive husband and community, but I don't think he feels that same urgency where I want to get stuff done. And I have 3 children where I need to get my stuff done by 3 o'clock so I could be a really stellar mom and be available. And even when, and I'm sure there are men that feel the same way, but it's different. There's a different kind of need and hunger that maybe speaks to equity, but I think even perhaps leans into like, there's expectation that we need to do more, need to create more, need to make it happen sooner, need to shine brighter, need to be that person in the room who is going to have a different voice to stand out so that we do get what we want as women and are heard and seen in a way that is differently powerful and differently exciting and purposeful. So like, I'm into the equity, but I'm also into like, and then maybe some more.
Equity
Amen.
plus. I'm into that. Equity plus.
I don't think there's anyone on this panel that doesn't echo all of those sentiments. There's
Let's
not.
agree.
We all do more. We know each other, what, 20 minutes? 20 minutes plus a few weeks? We do more in an hour than most people do in, you know, a month. Women.
Women in general.
Collectively.
Yeah.
I love men.
Did you have something?
We all love
I do.
men.
I would like to add something. When it comes to like embrace equity, there's a lot of conversation around it, and it can mean a whole lot of things. But the way I think about equity is just like compassion in community. You know, a lot of times if we just really slow down and say like, am I considering this other people? Am I trying to make other people work as hard as I did to get whatever I got? Am I just being considerate making an elevator that has a foot press? Like, can everyone access what I'm trying to put out here? Did I consider my community? Is my community looking like the people of the world? Is my community just welcoming and loving on everyone else? So like we try to make everything harder than it is, and it's like, yes, we're all different, and it's not like trying to make us all the same. It's just having compassion and being able to see people fully for who they are and still love on them. And still love on them and be like, hey, I consider you. Kick on that elevator button so you can go upstairs and see the beauty of this building. You know, so it's just like compassion and community so we can see each other fully and feel safe.
Anybody want to follow that? Because that was a mic drop for me.
That's what I love to create. Places that people feel welcome and open and it's
Comfortable.
just comfortable, because that's how I wanted always to feel like welcome, even though I'm always like a new person everywhere I go. But I feel like when you have a space that is inclusive, welcoming, people will come in.
If you build it, they will come.
Yes.
So actually, to that point, I'd love to just take this moment to talk about Bellwork Chicagoland, why you work out of here, if you do, if you don't, why you come here, just for our audience sake, but also, you know, and I can kick us off, this is obviously my first time in this building. We have a wonderful, deep, rich relationship with the Bellworks location in New Jersey. It's very close to where I live. I worked out of there for some time pre-COVID. I take classes there with Tootsie and others there. We have this wonderful relationship with Brooke and Paola at MPZ, working on these types of events with them. It's just, I said it to my sister earlier today when we were here, there's something about it. I've been working from home for, what is it now? In some shape or form, 10 years since being a mom in some capacity. And I stopped going into Bellworks every day because it just cut in too much into my time that I had. And I miss it. I really miss it, because going and getting up and going to a beautiful space and sitting at a cute little nook with yellow cushions and like a little mini, you know, tulip. And I'm like, why am I not going to Bellworks every day at home? Like literally just said that to Marissa. I'm like, why am I sitting in my like office in my house? So anyway, stay tuned on that, because I plan on going back to Bellworks to work. But wanted to talk to you guys who are tenants or people that use the space. What brought you here? What can you share with the audience, the listeners, to say, like, if you have a place like this around your home, like, check it out. Like, it inspires me to even be here today doing this, let alone like a day-to-day job. So Pam, do you want to kick us off? I know that you haven't spoken in a minute.
We're pretty new to Bellworks, and one of my staff works here on a consistent basis. And really, it comes down to two words, why we're here and why we will continue to be here, and that's community. It's an amazing community of people. I mean, I'm looking at faces who are welcoming and want to create a community of businesses and nonprofits that benefit the entire community, not just themselves. So it's very outward looking. So it's that community building, and it's the people. That's why we're involved here.
Yeah. So I don't have a space at Bellworks, but I come here for events, and I've been invited by the lovely Bellworks staff to kind of utilize their space and be here and meet people. And I'm just going to say, along with community, I mean, what we all experienced during COVID was this grave mental health problem by being so isolated. And so Bellworks and spaces that are like this provide that. Even if you're not talking to anybody, let's say you have to work all day and you have to have your headphones in or your laptop, you're still seeing people. And just that experience, you know, instead of isolation, I think can be really life-giving and much healthier for us all.
Life-giving is a good,
I love
good
that.
2 words.
Yeah, I kind of want to piggyback off that. I enjoy coming to Bellworks because the community is amazing, but within the community, there's a lot of collaboration. And being a solopreneur or entrepreneur, you're often by yourself. Maybe you don't have your team built up yet. So it's really powerful and amazing to be able to come to a space to collaborate with like-minded creatives and create and inspire and do amazing things. Shout out Love Local, who's a tenant in this building that I collaborate with. It's really a great experience.
I'll say something.
Well, I just like the space. There's a lot of light. I'm here off and on. I'm not here every day, but every time I come in here, I'm inspired. The community is amazing. The light is amazing. And there's so much potential. Like, I have this big dream of having a wellness center where you can have a space like this where if you need a coffee, you can go. You need to just walk, you can go. There's fitness here. There's fitness center here. There's everything. There's a potential to have everything you need in one space. And I just love that potential. And so, yeah, it's light, a lot of potential, good community. That's why I like coming.
I love all this, Paola. Your ears must be like ringing and your heart is swelling.
Now, something that I observe a lot, even from the beginning of Bellworks and Homedale, is that we are so digitalized. Everything's digital, we have our digital presence, social media, and I feel like that can be overwhelming. So for me, having a space and creating spaces where you can have human contact, look at people's eyes, have the warmth of being real, being in person, that to me is priceless. I think that's gonna be it's gonna get more even with the pandemic because we were so isolated. People wanna connect in person. It's different to connect in person than through an email, through a DM or something. It's like, it's the human contact, and I think that's what we create here. And I'm gonna quote Ralph Zucker, the visionary behind Bellworks. There's a lot of office buildings with amenities, but the best amenity that we have here at Bellworks is the community.
And I spend time at the New Jersey Bellworks, and I came here yesterday with Paola and got the tour here of Chicago. And to know and to spend time in the New Jersey Bellworks in Homedale and see how this is starting, that place is bumping. And it is, I have, my oldest is 16. He meets it, and we live like pretty far from it. He meets his friends there and they study. Then they go to the ice cream place right there. Then they go to escapology, like they escape the room. Then somebody's coming with walking their dogs. Then they stay and hang out because I'm doing a big event there. There's so much happening, and to see this yesterday, now there are people here, but to walk around and see how the vision being created, fulfilled, and manifested. And I was talking to, Jamie, Marissa, and I were talking about being here in the space this morning. It's so inspiring. And I think you're getting to that question later on about what inspires us, but Paola, it really is a remarkable testament to your talent and your ambition and your vision and your audaciousness to be in the space, knowing where it goes and being a part of where it goes. It's, and for New Jersey, people come from New York City and from Philadelphia, far away to experience their times there, at least for the events when I'm there. It's incredible.
It really is, and actually that is our next question about what inspires you, but I wanted to just say one quick thing. We would love to raffle off a package from all of our panelists today. Everybody's agreed to contribute a little something from their business. And just in the interest of time, because I know some people are sneaking off, I wanted to do that before we lost more members of our audience. So I actually have a really fun trivia question that most of you will probably know the answer to, but maybe not.
Wait, let's set some ground rules before you ask.
Go ahead.
So in order to win, you need to be the first person to shout the answer, and you need to be you need to be powerful in your answer.
Yes.
And I will be the one that decides. So I'm watching you, audience.
And everybody's allowed to enter. Okay. It's actually a two-part question that I'd only know the answer to one part, and I'll be interested to see if anybody knows the answer to the second part. Does anyone know who the former tenant of this building was and when it closed?
Yes! She wins hands down.
And she did it with such conviction.
That's what I
and
said.
Power.
Hands down win.
But it's okay that you don't know if you don't know the second part. Do you know when they closed? How long the building was vacant? Does anybody know the actual answer to that? How long was it actually closed? Does anybody know? I made that part up, by the way.
A few years ago.
Okay, so many years it was just kind of sitting there. Well, congratulations to what is your first name? Tula?
Hey, Chila.
Chila, okay, wonderful. Thank you for being here. And we are all thrilled to be able to give you a little something from our business. And we'll follow up with you after to get your contact information. Thank you for doing that. And I liked that you gave that little rule. Okay, so
And she followed my directions.
so to wrap today, we always ask these like last few questions, and we'll put it kind of in a bow because they all kind of kind of relate, and you can take with it or of it what you like. So we always ask our guests, what inspires you? We've definitely covered that this space is so inspirational to all of us, but what keeps you going? If you'd like to add, what advice you might give to someone that is trying to do the things that you've been able to do to stay inspired. And a part of that is, do you have like a mantra or something that you use to stay inspired? Or is it just being in a space like this or being around other people like this? So it's kind of a three-part question in what keeps you inspired? Is there anything you say to yourself and others that keeps you that way? And what kind of advice with that would you share to others? So, take from
I feel like
that.
Amy can start.
Take from that what you
I feel like she has an answer.
I do. I walk around with mantras. So I think that, let's start with the first part. What keeps me inspired? I have a blended family. I have 5 kids. So I have 4 daughters. And they've always been my driver. So I, even getting ready today, I got ready and my kids are mulling around, being lazy, eating breakfast. And they're like, Mom, you look so cute. And they're like, wait, isn't it International Women's Day? Aren't you going to a thing? And I was like, yeah, I am. And like, for them to grow up with that, I think is definitely what inspires me every day. And then a couple of my mantras are, the only ceiling that actually exists is the one that's in your head. And then I have these bracelets at my table over there. You can grab one. And they say beat yesterday. And that's kind of my mantra every day is like, you get the luxury of waking up every day and trying again, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever you did yesterday, you need to put it to rest and beat yesterday.
Amy made me cry.
I like that one, beat yesterday.
The daughters
that
thing
one.
got me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got 2. Not 5, but 2.
Anybody else would like to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add. Clearly, I like to talk.
We all do.
We like to listen.
Something that I remind myself, and I always remind people that I work with, there's no wasted people. So if you woke up today, you belong here. You deserve to be here. You're worthy of being here. So live life. Don't just go through the day, live life. And so I always try to remind myself that when I get down, not every day I wake up this bright. There's some days I'm like, I just want to sleep the day away. And it's like, wait, but I did wake up and I'm still here. So that means I'm here for a purpose. And so just that always is a fresh reminder for me to keep going when I want to give up and know that I do have a superpower and just live up to that superpower. Even if it's just being a safe person that day, lean into that superpower and give it my all.
We talk about superpowers a lot, actually, and I think that's typically part of this question, so thank you for reminding me that I didn't say that. I believe, truly, we both do, in our mission and our business, is everybody has a superpower. And some days you don't know what it is, or it's harder to find, but every single day is a chance to show somebody else
No wasted people.
Yeah, no wasted people. I love that. Anybody else have any mantras
that,
or
Nicole.
things that keep you inspired that you might want to share with those out there looking to make change or do something similar to you?
I'll share what inspires me. So I think it is super powerful when somebody shares their story. Maybe they were intimidated, or it's vulnerable to share your story and speak your truth, but it could help so many other people. You don't know what story that you can connect with and how somebody else can connect to your story. You never know what you might say, how it might help somebody else. I love seeing, even working with some of my clients that are coaches, they put out inspirational things and then it helps their clients up-level their lives. Or if it's a designer that creates a space and shares the story behind it, it creates relationships. It creates that human connection that we all seek.
Mm-hmm. And crave.
Grave, yeah, so true.
Beautiful.
Okay, unless anybody else wants to share anything. Okay. So I wanted to just say a couple things to wrap. We at the Dreamcatchers believe very much, like Marissa talked about earlier, that if you are not working in your dream job currently, or you haven't found the dream yet, that it is still there, and you might be able to find it in your current job, or you can figure out ways to find it. And we work with our clients a lot, identifying what defines a dream job, what does that even mean, and we talk about this concept of the dream crush. So, forgive me for being a little crass, but everyone knows the feeling of a crush at some point in your lives. And so what we try to do with people is figure out, okay, if you have a crush on a brand, a person, a company, right now I'm hardcore crushing on Bellworks. I mean, I've always had a crush on Bellworks, but just think they're killing it, think they're doing such incredible things, would die to work there. Most people, forgive me for saying most, but really I work with a ton of people, and most of the time they tell me what their dream crush is, and they don't know how to actually go after it. They freeze. So we work together to figure out, okay, there are ways, like I said earlier, to contact, connect, collaborate with maybe the dream job that you would never have thought before would be possible, just because of being digitized, whether that's good or bad or indifferent at this point. So I like to ask our guests, do you have a dream crush? Because by the way, not to put everyone on the spot, I also think this is inspirational to listeners because, it's cool to see what you guys have all done, but to also think you guys also have your own crushes out there that feel
Right, we all feed off one another.
yes, and
We
so
all need each other in order to be better.
so whether that is something that you actually go after and try to work for them, or you just maybe try to emulate them a little or follow along with what they're doing so that you can better yourself as a dream chaser, as a job seeker, as a new business owner, to just keep going. So today my dream crush is Bellworks. It's always Bellworks, by the way.
think
I've said this
Pam
many
has
times.
Pam has a dream crush. I can feel it.
Do you have a crush that you'd like to share? Because also it's an opportunity for us to highlight these amazing companies, people, women, whatever the case may be, to our audience and to our listeners.
When I started in the nonprofit world, I was told it's a dog-eat-dog world. It's highly competitive. You're fighting for every dollar. And I really pushed back on that. And I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
Please.
I really pushed back on that. I believe that I'm a faith-based person, and I believe that God is a God of abundance. And so this idea that we're fighting against each other just went against everything that I believed. There are several organizations right here in Bellworks, Love Local, Blink Tees are two, and they are my dream crush right now because of the way they do business.
Second shout out for Love Local.
Well, it's a great organization, and it's because we can become such a selfish society where we're all about empowering, which is important to look out for yourself. But to me, what's inspiring is when you look out into the community and see how you can lift others. And if you can begin to lift others, amazing things happen. And so my crush, and what I'm learning a lot about right now, is how do we do that more?
Thank you for sharing that. I love it.
Same. Anyone else would like to share? Yeah.
I'll share it. Well, Bellworks, of course.
Of course, yeah, Bellworks.
But one of my dreams that I always I've been wanting to do is to open a nonprofit to help Latina women and minorities to be inspired by creativity and break the stereotypes. And because that's how I am, I'm very creative, and I feel like if little girls could see that, how I design, how I put together my visions, they will also could change their lives. So I haven't done that yet. I don't have my organization.
We're going to manifest
We're
that.
manifesting it today.
But yes, but
Heard it here first today.
Yes, but there is an organization in New York City called 6,000 Troopers. And they are an organization that basically helps homeless girls in New York City, minority girls in New York City, help them through like kind of like Girl Scouting and inspire them. And I just became a leader for them. And I'm gonna have my troop of girls that I'm gonna be
I love that.
leading and
Good for you.
showing them and inspiring and telling my story, which is very important. And right now they're my crush, that our organization, because it's kind of like what I want to do also.
I love that. Good for you. That's so exciting.
And that
Thank
and then
you.
the organization is called what?
6,000 troopers.
Troopers.
What? I changed every.
Troop
Troop
6,000. Troop.
Is
Thank you,
English?
Brookie.
Troop 6,000. Thank you,
Troop
Brookie.
6,000.
Wonderful.
Oh, you girls are going to be so lucky to
Oh
have
my
you.
gosh, that's so exciting.
I'm very excited.
Anybody else have something to share? Crush that they want to share? Okay, so in the interest of time, I wanted to thank everybody for being here today. We will follow up with you, our winner. And just to wrap, you know, we're just so honored to have been asked to be here today to lead this conversation. You know, I wanted to give anybody in the audience a moment if they had a question, so bear with me 1 second, we'll give you a chance. But I just wanted to also say that, you know, this conversation can continue. I'm so excited to, first of all, have all of you in my web and orbit now. Anybody in the audience that is interested in contacting any of us or talking to any of us further, we will hopefully share, I think even in the invite there was information about each of us, but wanted to wrap with obviously the Dream Crush conversation, which I love, so thank you for sharing. But I wanted to wrap with just saying thank you to Ming at A Shared Universe for doing our sound and for Bellworks for having us here today and planning this gorgeous event. And I wanted to just make sure that if anybody had anything else they wanted to add, anything you have coming up as soon as 5 p.m. today, that you want to share with our audience, have an opportunity to just say one last thing that you didn't get a chance to say. Is there anything that we didn't get to cover that anybody wanted to be able to share today?
I'll just say that it's, you know, along the lines of the last few questions you had, that it's where the ahas are, where the curiosity is. There's no coincidence, like, you know, meeting all of you, you know, an hour and a half ago. It's the inspiration, I think, that the idea that we're looking for some reason to do something different or finding that inspiration, or it's everywhere all the time. You know, it's here in people that I wouldn't have crossed paths with otherwise. And this is like, it's so mundane, and this is what life is all about. Life is about finding the little pockets that don't need to be exceptional, you don't have to fly to, or, you know, for the retreats I always say, like, you don't need to be like on the top of some Himalayan mountain to feel self-actualized. It's right here on a day that's been called, fine, International Women's Day, but like every day when I see my daughter or I'm having great conversations with men and women is a day that's like, right, like I'll remember this, like every person here, and I'll, like, you know, what Nicole said, I'll be like, that's so much true, that's so true, or, and that's, for me, that's the beauty of life, like being able to participate fully and being so grateful that we are always able to be inspired and elevate who we are, and then help elevate our communities and the people in our lives. So thank you.
And if you want to see Tootsie in action, she's teaching today at 5.
And I'm going to teach a killer dance class at
right
5
here at
o'clock.
5 o'clock.
And everyone can do it.
Everyone can do it.
And you'll never, ever feel the same afterwards.
It's very
Promise.
true. Life-changing. Anybody else want anything to share or have anything they'd like to share? Well, I'm just thrilled to have been back in the Midwest for a moment. I went to Michigan, go blue. And love the Midwest hospitality. Marissa goes, you may not want to say go blue today. I'm like, I'm not in Ohio. Like, I can say go blue. So I try to say it every episode. So thank you to our panelists, our beautiful ladies
Thank you.
up here. And thank you to our listeners. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap while we're still here with our microphones on? Anybody wanted to share anything? Okay. Can I do a little? Yes, go ahead.
So I really am a lover of people, and if there's any questions or you just need a vent, please email me, whatever. Follow me on Instagram, it's Thriving with Baby Chicago. But really, you can email me at info@thrivingwithbaby. I say that because there's a lot of people that are in tough spots right now. Even though the world has seemed to come out of its hole, there's still a lot of people in that hole. And so if anyone needs just someone to reach out to, I always say just email me. It's easier to email me than call because I'm a therapist. So I'm in sessions a lot. But I can always shoot back a reply. So info@thrivingwithbaby if you just need someone.
Nicole, I'll be in your inbox in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, right?
Nicole, I need a lot of doses of Nicole.
Yes, same.
Everybody needs Nicole.
Everybody does. Well, thank you. And thank you to Paola and her team for inviting us here today. We're so happy to have been here. And thank you for listening.
Chicagoland hospitality. I have to end on this note. Thank you so much for having me, Marissa, and my sister Jamie. I had the pleasure of meeting Pam by accident in the bathroom, and I said, this woman was just so nice in the bathroom. And I said, was it because she's on the panel or it's just the way Chicago feels? And of course, it's both.
It's both.
It's both. So it was a pleasure to be here, and I hope we come back soon.
Yes. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.